American popular music has misappropriated American Indian culture in many ways. Westerners recreate and stage the Western contact and expansionism in the New World. Kids play Indian, but this is perpetuated throughout adulthood through music and cinema. Schools traditionally put on a performance of the first Thanksgiving where kids dress up like pilgrims and Indians. Children are instantly exposed to roles in music that is stereotyped. Many representations within the media are racist stereotypes performed by whites. Redface is when a non-native takes actions in order to be perceived as Native American, and singing redface is when one becomes native in musical performance. People are exposed to singing and performing redface in Peter Pan with the Lost Boys and the Rescue of Tiger Lily, and in Annie Get Your Gun with Annie's performance of I'm an Indian Too. Western culture places a stereotype of Native Americans in our heads from an early age, and that stereotype is continued throughout our lifetime. White privilege is a perpetrator of singing redface. Annette in Disney sings Indian Giver, where she sings about a squaw who is irrational and emotional. Loretta Lynn sings redface and projects an image of herself as a sexy tomahawk-wielding Native American, which demonstrated stereotypes and provoked racial antipathy. Racial antipathy is racial stereotypes that provoke animosity in viewers or listeners. In the media, music in Hollywood promotes the image of Native Americans as savages. This gives the illusion that the media speaks for all members of the Native Americans, which leads to how non-natives see the natives. This is similar to blackface minstrelsy, which was constructed from live variety acts, comedic sketches, dances, and musical numbers. It was considered a unique American form of theater and was jester-like. It introduced black characters and gave a safe and mostly imaginary look into black culture. White performers in blackface sang so-called Negro songs and danced so-called Negro dances. The stereotyped African Americans and they were discriminated against, and redface and playing Indian has the same impact on Native Americans. Idealized sympathy is when subject appropriation is hidden behind an overly sympathetic tone. The tone is for an imaginary Native American caricature. Due to these caricatures, the media often demonstrates cultural misappropriation. They propagate an idea of a fantastical or racist stereotype. This leads to cultural confusion because people have only been exposed to Native misrepresentations. I would like to address the misrepresentation in singing redface in Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas. The song is slow and melodic and features woodwind instruments and string instruments. Now, we have talked about in class that flutes and the violin are important to Native American history, but the song is a romanticized, westernized version of what a Native American song sounds like. In the lyrics, Pocahontas addresses that John Smith and the white men, and breaking the fourth wall, the audience, think she is an ignorant savage. Green corn is sacred to Native Americans, as we've talked about in the textbook with the green corn ceremony, but there is no such thing as a blue corn moon. Disney addresses the stereotypes even as they perpetuate them. Judy Kuhn sings Colors of the Wind as a white non-native. Pocahontas wears a skimpy one-shoulder dress and runs barefoot. The scene is romanticized and sexualized, although Pocahontas and John Smith were never romantically involved. This shows redface and is just one of the many ways Hollywood and cinema have portrayed Native Americans. In the mid-1960s, there was a series of Navajo silent pictures that marked the beginning of indigenous movie making on Navajo Nation. Social scientists John Adair and Solworth led a project in which the camera and editing equipment were given to relatively untrained Navajo participants. The black and white movies show weaving, construction projects, silversmithing, etc., but most importantly, they show intercultural respect, a concept that media had not grasped when it came to Native Americans. Most of the Navajo filmmakers rejected close-up shots because they felt it was an invasion of privacy, whereas the white graduate students started off with shooting close-ups until they realized it was culturally inappropriate. Although the project was put into Navajo hands, the social scientists still imposed Western norms. They wanted to make representative cinema, so they grabbed random people who for the most part had no desire to go into filmmaking. As Randolph Lewis tells us, the problem is the political history of aesthetic judgments based on nationalist criteria, page 135. Navajo Talking Picture, made by Arlene Bowman, It's a Native film that challenges Western expectations about Native creativity. But she and Lewis tell us Indigenous media does not exist in isolation from global media practices. Page 139. Even films by natives impose an element of playing Indian or use Western techniques. Playing Indian through media is a long-standing concept. In Cecil B. DeMille's The Plainsman in 1936, Wild Bill and Buffalo Bill capture an Indian. There is a scene of translation before it transitions to Custer's last stand. Custer is encircled by Indians, hit by a bullet, and dies dramatically. The scene was used to incorporate authentic Native American culture by having him speak what audiences believed to be Cheyenne while telling the story of Custer's last stand. However, the flashback is congruent with white culture's version of the story. As Roberta Pearson tells us, Hollywood painted Native Americans as noble savages, 247, and savage savages, 248. Many 19th century Westerners saw Native Americans as savages who mutilated, tortured, and massacred. In the 1930s, Custer films show a heroic general in contrast with evil Indian enemies. There is distortion and misrepresentation of Native Americans throughout cinematic history. Hollywood does not distinguish tribes, and film scholars talk about time of production to justify historical inaccuracies. Cinema influences audience members, especially children. It was fascinating and slightly horrifying to think about the summer camp where children played at being Indian. I think that the camp needs an overhaul. They're teaching children about Native Americans, but they are doing it from a white, westernized perspective that teaches them incorrectly. The children are learning that natives are savages. They play tribal games and become Indian braves at war. The song that they are singing is a welcome to the Sioux tribe about scouts and braves. They teach them that the Sioux tribe is unstoppable and make a lighthearted Sioux chant. They sing about passing the peace pipe to Crazy Horse. I think that it is unfair and cultural appropriation and misappropriation when members of one society pretend to be members of another society like this. In 2018, many young women were called out for enhancing the darkness of their skin by tanning and pretending to be black. The public was angry with them and told them that if they were going to do so, to at least use it as a platform for social justice and change. Society has varying views over this. Sometimes we support appropriation, other times we do not. And the changing of film and portrayals of Native Americans in media showcase